Cool. All right. So welcome to the beginning of this live stream of Andreas by himself in the well, it's gonna be the skate park. Smash. I think it's called Smash Mountain. That's what they're calling it. Let me turn on the light in here. I mean, it's super cool in this room. This is just the chill room. You don't even need that much light in here. Let's just wait and see if people searching it. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do also? Hold on a second. Let me make sure this is like. Anybody seeing this? I feel they're making it harder to like have. There we go. Someone say if you can see this. This is a test. I'm not sure. Have you guys ever played skee ball before? How do you guys feel about skee ball? It's a pretty cool game. Let me move some of these supplies out of my way. Let me see here. Turn this around. All right. Nice, right? Oh yeah, 100 points on your first roll. Clearly, Andreas is like the best at skee ball. Just in case you guys didn't know that about me. Oh, weird. Yeah, pretty good. Yes, YouTube is broken, guys. You know that, right? Like, there's no way for me to be seeing live. I mean, I'm playing skee ball more than I'm. Wait, do you see that? Again, 100. How do you do 100 every time? Like, I'm. Do you guys ever see Dogma? Like, God's really into skee ball. No relation. Okay, so this is the bar area. I'm doing this because A, I'm bored, and B, I can do what I want to do to make me feel happy. And what makes me feel happy, besides skee ball, is talking to my friends. And there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk to you about tonight. And since I wasn't going to do it, I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, talk to people about it. And you guys can see this video later. And, you know, you might want to see some, like, pretty precious Magic cards. I don't know if you guys care about Magic the Gathering, but if you did, you'd notice some of these cards are particularly valuable in the game. Like, at least, because you could probably print some fake copies if you wanted. All right, now 3 people is not quite as exciting for, you know, a live stream. So you guys know what's happening, right? Like, normally we have like 1,000, 100, 30, now 1 or 2. How did that happen? It used to be that we had so many people. On the first Instagram, it said that they're going to stop and forbid people. Oh, so close. Let me turn it around so you guys can see me do this. It's so great. I'm so good at this game. It's crazy. Now that you're trying to impress people. All right. So Instagram forbid people from using hashtags because they don't want to spread misinformation of news. There you go. Do you see it? I got 100. 100 again. Do it again. Oh, come on, guys. You know I can do it. You saw me. Come on. Where are you doing this to me for? Come on. Almost there. You know what? It was way more impressive when I did it once and walked away. All right, so Instagram's decided not to let people post news or use hashtags. Hashtags are going away, and so that's a big problem. Like, no hashtags means that you won't be. I mean, like, a big thing I do is I'm like, hashtag Britney Spears, hashtag chocolate, hashtag pudding, hashtag your best friend's wedding, hashtag summer, hashtag anything other than the things that you guys aren't supposed to talk about. Oh man, we lost. Like, what's going on with that? So they're shutting it down. YouTube is down. Can't upload anything. He's probably just testing to see if it works, I guess. Steven Thurman, are you able to watch this? Keep commenting if it's working. I can force it. I'm just gonna force it. All right, send me more comments, because if you guys can actually like get YouTube to run right now, yeah, they're like, what are you doing right now? You guys, I don't know. Just wanted to see if I could, but yeah, everyone else is having problems, and I've been looking at DDoS attacks everywhere, so that's pretty interesting. Well, can't upload anything. Yeah, I don't know what, I couldn't watch. I was trying to show Tim and the people the videos I made. We saw a bunch of them. Thank God it stopped eventually, because crazy. Okay, well, you're the lucky ones. Check this out. Welcome to the indoor. Let's do a walk like through the door, because it's like, you know, you're like in here, you're like hanging out, you're looking at your Magic cards, and then bum 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 bum. It's super dark. It lights up. Now you're in the skate park. I know. Yeah, Andreas. Bare feet and this outfit. God, one viewer. This is the worst. Like, okay, so you guys are wondering also, I'm testing to see how bad this is. Is YouTube blocking everybody around the world? Like, tell me if you're able to watch this where you are right now. Are you in America? See, like, they're trying to stop us. Everyone is going live. You guys can, while the world ends, ourselves a Tartary Nova shirt, complete with this Tartary dude Starfort. I mean, right? Like, isn't that, you're not even able to see the video? Oh, that's so terrible. Oh man. Live chat. Okay, let me type into you guys. How do I type back to you guys? I want to type. Is it not letting me? I can't like respond? What? Oh my god, this is ridiculous. So no one's able to see this. An iPad down. Well, this is pretty bad, guys. This is like the worst I've seen. I guess we can chat the old-fashioned way, huh? All right, well, I guess that's pretty bad. Maybe I'll delete this, or maybe it'll be available soon. It's ironic, the stuff that you guys are missing, right? Like, it's like I'm pretty much having like the best time by myself ever. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a live stream because I'm lonely and I want to be with my friends. And you know what happened? Nothing worked. Nothing ever works the way you expect it to. All right, well. Tell you what, why give up? Why give up? I'm going to just try to record this, and at some point you guys are going to probably see it anyway and be like, that guy's nuts. He was alone, there was no one with him, there was no one online to support him, and he just kept going, just kept talking about stuff, and just wouldn't be quiet, and eventually we listened to him. I don't know. So, let's see, I'm going to set my camera up using my jacket. There you go, you're live. Okay, so. All right. So, here I am in the skate park, and you guys can't even see me. Alright. It's loud noise. Oh, it's water. Brutal. Okay. So, I was talking earlier about this guy, George Mason, and the best way to remember who George Mason is, besides like Freemason, which is he was the Mason who wanted to be free, is that he's not the George Mason from the British actor George Mason who made Dr. Dolittle. He's not that George Mason. He's not George Mason who went and descended to the center of the earth. He's a different George Mason. This George Mason was born in Sagittarius on the 11th of December in 1722, and his father died. And his mother died, and he ended up being a founder. Wouldn't you know it, a founder? And he decided, well, okay, let's go back. He was raised not by his parents then, right? He was raised not by an orphanage either, but a Freemason with his own library with 1,500 rare texts that would make the Smithsonian week. So, of all these 1,500 books, George Mason is most famous. George Mason is most famous for creating the Human Declaration of, the Virginia Declaration of Rights, February 1776, which became the deciding document for, I think so, 1776, right? Which became the deciding document years later for the 1791 Constitution's Bill of Rights. So, the Bill of Rights. Everybody thinks that the Bill of Rights are like, okay, first off, they're amendments to the Constitution. They're not even written into the original Constitution, which is, why would you do that? Not a professional skateboarder. But, so, you got this guy who refuses to sign the Constitution. He's George Washington's neighbor. He's run for the chair of Burgess. The throne of Burgess in England respected Fairfax. At the time, Fairfax, Virginia, was called Dogneck. So he's born in Dogneck, right? And when he goes from Dogneck to British government, we don't want to limit the government. It's too much. There you go, connecting. They're boxing your vids, my God. Yeah, they're boxing all vids. Cool. You guys will see. You can read through the chats, no explanations given. The fact that I'm still recording this is ridiculous. I mean, you know, yeah, so Instagram has canceled everything, but this is an important video, so I'm still gonna do it. George Mason. So George Mason, raised by John Mercer, M-E-R-C-E-R, neighbor to George Washington, from Dog Neck, which became Fairfax, which is where the 100,000 missing ballots were, you know, or they had to delete, burn ballots. Yeah. And yeah, economic reset, cultural reset, as Vasily is saying, is that there's a reset in every respect. Everyone's talking about reset now. You got the Economic World Forum talking about it. It's not even just a historic thing anymore. And that's what's crazy. You got all these people I'm surrounded with right now. They're like, what do you do? And I'm like, I do well. I talk to you all, you kids, and all of you men and women about how to grow society back after it's been shut down, based on the fact that we have all this evidence for the last 2 or 3 years that we've been collecting about, you know, the usage of the word oof in the 1600s as it went down and comes back up in the 1800s, comes back down and is used again. And we are about to hit the oof climax of the 21st century. And the oof is the oofta, and the oofta is the ooh, the Shrek, and the pain. And you're probably thinking I'm crazy, and that's fine. I don't even care. The truth is, you're about to forget so much of everything that we've ever known. We're going to forget more than they've ever known about bookbinding, you know? Like, that's the thing. So, why did we talk about George Mason? So, George Mason, he wrote the Virginia Declaration of Rights, as well as the Fairfax Doctrines. And they had a bunch of, you know, ideas for what they wanted, but if you read through the Virginia paperwork, the idea for the human rights and inalienable rights, that Thomas Jefferson got his idea for inalienable rights from George Mason. And vice versa, Thomas Jefferson encouraged George Mason to, like, stay with them, stay with the Freemasons, and stay with the American order of colonialists. Oh, you guys can see me. That's great, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm barefoot, so I should be, like, wearing skate shoes, but we'll deal with that later. I mean, I didn't know if you guys knew that, though, that I could, like, you know, whatever. Not in my house. I don't even, who do you think I am, right? Okay. I have a skate park in my house. Who do you think I am? I don't even skateboard that much. This is a roller skate. A quiet place. This is the quietest place. It's underneath us, you know? People have weird things. If you didn't have a skate, move to California. It'd be terrible. Okay. So we're almost through this. They cut you when you stopped. Yeah. Yes, you guys get it. You guys are starting to catch on. Shh. All right. So, George Mason, he wrote the Virginia Declaration of Rights, which became the amendments. Now, the amendments are not written in the Constitution. So what are they? They are things that are changed. From the beginning of the Constitution, they've added these amendments. You will, Brittany. I promise. You will see me soon. You can't see the video stream right now because DDoS, they're taking out the world. Cloudflare's down. Like, some of the Europeans seem to be able to see me, so that's okay. But, all right. The amendment design, rather than the way Monroe had written the Constitution, Monroe felt that it was unnecessary to have a Bill of Rights because he felt that the way he'd organized the structure of the articles of the Constitution made it impossible for the government to do more things. Unfortunately, from 1776 to 1791, the Constitution changed from the Confederate Articles of Confederation into the Federalist Papers. And when the Federal Constitution, which eventually the Federalist Papers, Monroe's Papers, is a big reason for the American thing. They didn't give the government enough power, and the government needed more power to do the things that they wanted. Okay, so because of that, they convinced Monroe by Mason. He's like, I'm not signing it. And like a lot of people, I think it was like 30 counties of Virginia, said they're not going to sign the Constitution, which meant that the United States was not going to happen. And it was already too late because he'd already been worried about it in the Confederation Papers. Here's the weird part. When they wrote it, they didn't put it into the document because, again, Monroe felt his thing was perfect. So he's like, okay, we'll have a Bill of Rights. but they made them as amendments, which means that there are changes to the document that can be changed again. Now, the most positive libertine philosophers thought that a Bill of Rights would be misinterpreted and people would think it meant that these would be the limits of rights. No more than this would ever, no. They even say at the beginning of the Bill of Rights, like, this is not, and inalienable rights, the concept of inalienable rights really comes from George Mason. And, he showed that to Thomas Jefferson. Well, Thomas Jefferson was living in Paris. And they got this idea that, like, the human spirit could not be restricted in certain ways. Yeah, you guys it's cool that you guys are freaking trying to watch this. Think about that, like, right? Like, that you guys are, like, I don't think people get that about, I love you guys so much, because, like, it's like, of all of you guys are so great. I love you guys so much. I love you ladies and guys, and human experiences, you're great. Yeah, memory man, exactly. Like, I think about you guys all the time. I think about, my friends in the Discord, like, what we were creating, like, the books that we're gathering, and it's like, it comes up every day. Like, all of that information feeds into this, and we're finding out things we didn't even know. Analogs, paperwork, going back, talking about the Tartar cherry tree, like, the and cut it down. And another relation to the fact that he was a neighbor of George Mason. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's a nice shirt. You guys definitely should be buying this shirt. I mean, of all the shirts you could buy from Tartar Nova, this is one of my favorites. I like this one a lot. There's also the black one with red, and, I didn't bring it down here, but there's the fanny packs. They're really good too, and the masks, but you're almost past the mask. Pretty choppy audio and video. Man, the fact that you can see it, Robert, the stream will be up later, I'm pretty sure. That's the test, is YouTube gonna delete this? Like, clearly it's working. This whole idea that YouTube is having a DDoS doesn't make any sense, because, I'm recording this, like, in selection. Interesting stuff going on. I'm trying to focus, but with skateboarding and having a good time, and, like, the internet makes me manic. Hiya, Andreas. Hey, what's up, Mountain Cat? Good to see you. Always with the capital letters. I wonder, are you that intense in real life where you're like, hiya? Or am I missing the kind of intense, or how does the capital, like, how am I supposed to read capital letters anymore? It's like really exciting. Like, hey! Yeah. All right. So George Mason started working on the Constitution for Monroe. The amendments were based on his constitutional rights. It's never perfect. You need to read George Mason's original Virginia Declaration of Rights, because they're not the same or better. And the United States has kind of, done their best to keep them, but this is the big thing, is this constitutional limitation of government called negative governance. This skateboard's pretty cool. Yeah. But, like, I don't even have to be on it. You can just... Woo! And he comes in. And again. How much entropy will that skateboard be? Connected bad books. Ogneck became Fairfax, which is where the vote problems are now that, Project Veritas PV is looking into. By the way, anybody? No, like, he's legit. He's a good guy. Like, as far as any people I've met, like, I respect these people on the East Coast. They're trying their best. And yeah, like, what? It's just so weird. Some people are, like, super pro Assange and WikiLeaks, and they're not pro James O'Keefe. It's like, what the hell? I don't know. Bums me out, man. Bums me out. Like, real proper, Like, yeah. Okay, so I might as well leave. He has a visual deficiency, which makes it easier to say by using capital letters, which helps understand how to read what she's saying, because it's actually not need more intensity. It's just that, it's easier to see the letters, which is another reason I like to use Comic Sans MS, because my dad had dyslexia, because he just tried to memorize things too quickly. Okay, so there's two ways this can go down. One is one guy thinks that the reason that he won was the Constitution, and the other thinks is the reason and if the schmubberment is not negative schmubberment is the best. You want negative schmubberment. You don't want positive schmubberment. This is literally where we're at, guys. I have to do this. So you go to the Founding Fathers, you want to look at don't give up, never give up. Okay, one second, I'm gonna grab the laptop. Easiest way to deal with this, I think. Okay, so this YouTube ads work fine. I know, right? It's all about that negative schmubberment I talk about, apparently, because every time I mention the rhyme for that word, the cuts down on my side, and I can't even see myself. So then you get pretty clear what we don't want me to talk about. All right, let's going to the internet. There's also American got 1987 where he introduced. Please do. Please try. Try harder. Try a little bit harder. Would you? Would you? You're failing. You're failing bad. You're not doing very well. Pathetic. Okay. So, yeah, I get it, you guys. The videos are down. You'll see them. It's worth it. I'm in a manic mood. I'm going to keep trying and push through it. I don't care. So, he married in 1750, built Gunston Hall, lived as a country squire. His family had slaves, black hair in his face. He looks like that they're able to hide that for a while because apparently that really like embedded them into Eurocentric colonialist culture. But at the same time, the problem is now you have all these racist people that really don't respect black people. And they're like, dude, don't you know how many of the founding fathers were black? Like, I mean, I'm not just talking about rap music. Like, this goes back. All right, so Virginia Ratifying Convention of 1788, but his prominence fight for the Bill of Rights led to fellow Virginian James Madison introducing the same during the first Congress. So the first Congress in 1789, these amendments were ratified in 1791. So it's like, he tried so hard, he was trying to make the world a better place, and then they were like, well, we're going to lose if we don't do it. So James Madison introduced kind of similar rules. Obscure after his death, he's become recognized more and more in the 20th and 21st centuries for his contribution to early United States and Virginia. So, and you guys are familiar with Madison, I hope. The American statesman, founding father, fourth president of the United States from 1809 to 1817. Yeah, that's right, fourth. He's hailed as the father of the Constitution for his pivotal role in drafting and promoting the Constitution of the United States. He co-wrote the Federalist Papers, co-wrote the Democratic Republican Party. That's an important book in and of itself, actually, you guys. Check out the Democratic Republican Party book written and manifested by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. So the Democratic Republican Party of the 1790s, this is their logo. It was like the target symbol, but if you notice, there's actually rings around it. Ooh, touchscreen. Nice. All right, so you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus all of these, so maybe 24? Looks like it's, I don't know, I'll count them later. But that's an important thing. So, you know, if you think about Thomas Jefferson, I'm pretty convinced that Thomas Jefferson was also part black. Who cares? But, like, yeah, it seems like it kind of might matter today when we have so much racism in politics. But simultaneously, the Democratic men were voting for ideas that were inside of a Federalist Constitution that had a lineage, had judges to interpret down. Originally was following some of these rules, but some of the people in trouble, isn't it? Okay. Okay, so Madison helped secure the purchase of the Louisiana Purchase in 1796, which was also because Thomas Jefferson was there and he was pushing towards it. Circle, the Knights of the Golden Circle, building a new, pressed our boy. They really are, you know, and like, it's still not freaking working. You'd think they'd. So, 1836, he dies, Madison dies. But one of the things that you should remember is he introduced the Protective Tariff of 1816 to protect the United States. It isolated them against other countries because at the time we also have the Hawaiian Trade Agreement, and they're starting to rent Hawaii so that they can send packages from China. Even then, we bank. So second bank, the first bank didn't work. They had to buy debts under Alexander Hamilton. Then Alexander Hamilton was like, you know, they're never going to pay those debts back, bro. Can I just buy your debt? Like, I mean, like, well, they probably won't, but what the heck? I'd like to have that paperwork, you know? Like, I'll just buy it for novelty. It's like, what, $100,000, $10? I'll give you $3,000, or I'll do to pay these debts off. You know, people aren't going to trust us if we don't pay these debts off that I bought. Pay me all their debts. So he made, like, a racket. He made, like, so much money buying off war debts before he got killed. But again, you have to recognize Haiti as the birthplace and the connection between Cuba and Haiti and these royal sugar croppers. And Alexander Hamilton, who, again, I think was probably part black. I mean, all these pictures of these guys are super white, so whatever. But You know, it's probable. It makes a lot of sense, and you know that they would have if you're sent there as a man and you have all these women slaves, and you don't have a wife there because you're trying to make money. It's so confusing. Really close to here actually. Learned mathematics, geography, studied Dutch and Russian. He was a political philosopher. During the American Revolution, he was super young, dude. Like he was like 28 to 32, I think was when it was like seven. Let's see, when was he born again? It was like 51. Yeah, he's born in 1751. So 1776, he's like what, 28 to 30. At 22, there was no evidence that Madison himself made any effort to apprentice under any lawyer in Virginia. So why is he a lawyer? By 1773, he had Princeton friend William Bedford, a law apprentice under him, send orders. Okay, well, we don't need to do this. The stamp. You guys are familiar with the Stamp Act and the Broom Tax and like how the government, German King of England, King George, didn't speak English, and Madison helped arrange the 1785 Mount Vernon Conference, which settled disputes regarding navigation rights on the Potomac River. Over there. Annapolis Convention in 1786, he joined with Alexander Hamilton and other delegates in calling of another convention to consider amending the Articles. After winning election to another term in Congress, Madison helped convince the other congressmen to authorize the Philadelphia Convention to propose these amendments. Though many members of Congress were wary of the changes to the convention that they might bring, nearly all agreed that the existing government needed some sort of reform. I mean, every state had their own money. They weren't able to trade properly. So they had to have a sweeping reset of the Confederacy, right? This is how they did this. Some states that had lots of money and some states had no money. Not worth the continental was the expression, because someone would trade beef from Philadelphia for, I think it was Delaware or Connecticut. Money, was it Delaware's or like one of these bills that was worth nothing, you know? It was just the paper money without any gold backing. Sound familiar? So they're like, I'm not going to take this. And they're like, you have to. It's American currency. It's like, no, it's not. It's like another America. We're Delaware. Yeah. So how did they deal with this? Well, Alexander Hamilton destroyed the debts by purchasing them and then created a new elite class, and everyone underneath him, they had to keep paying, for everything, but it equalized everybody through a reset. So all the states had the same economy all of a sudden. And nobody talks about this, but this is a pretty big deal because, if each state had their own economy, imagine what it was like when each state had their own economy. They had their own money. And, people say like, oh, so here's another one. George Washington threw the dollar coin. Why am I talking about this? George Washington threw the dollar coin across the dollar. Well, my dad told me that story. I don't see how true. I was told this as a kid. Why it couldn't be true? Because they didn't have dollar coins. Wrong, Dad. They did, apparently. Because before there was the 1776, they had dollar coins for the United States. Originally, it was going to be German. It was so close to winning. We would be speaking German right now. But dollar comes from taler, like mark, essentially. Like you have like a taler coins are the Scandinavian kinds of money. So, man, that's pretty great. So there was definitely money. There were dollars. George Washington easily could have thrown a coin that was a dollar coin. But yeah, the point is that all of these economies were reset simultaneously. So every single one of these states, and granted, you're thinking there's 13 colonies. Again, wrong, because you've got all of these territories that are controlled theoretically by them, and they're trying to buy. By 1812, they're working on the control of all of Louisiana and Spanish territory as well. Like the wars are beginning with Spain to control areas, and France is saying we're going to give certain territories to Spain. Everyone's freaking out. They don't know what to do. So at the Philadelphia Convention, May 25th, 1787, after the 1776, 1787, they're like, dude, it's not working. They decided to create, at this other, members of the Virginia delegation decided to create a Philadelphia Convention. And Edmund Randolph and George Mason, and I told you about George Mason, but Edmund Randolph, who was also a friend and a contemporary of George Mason, had helped them. He was a Virgo in 1775. He was born in 753, so yeah, he would have been like 28, 30 years old, and a Virgo. And you know how Virgos are, where they're like really into studying stuff? Yeah, I know you believe in that stuff. All right, so anyway, he he was helping George Mason. He was on the Committee of Detail, and he was the first United States Attorney General and subsequently the second Secretary of State during George Washington's presidency, which did not happen until after 1791, because theoretically there wasn't a president of the Union. There were only presidents of each part of the Confederacy, of each state, except there were apparently presidents of each convention they had, and they considered the person who presided over the convention sort of a president. Hence, Prince, the artist formerly alive, saying that there were 13 black presidents before George Washington. And then, getting a little... Okay, so Randolph the Virgo, and then the Sagittarius, sort of new Bill of Rights, right through the new Constitution, and to command a military to go in and take over and force a state to do whatever we want, which the state's unclear. Can 20 get live stream? The 20 get live stream Discord. All right, you know what? Who knows what's happening? Who knows if you have to record it for me? Because, what am I going to do? Record it while I'm live streaming? And reward. There was a feud for Hamilton. And, a bunch of the telling me, East Coasties who... So, we're talking about Edmund Randolph, who helped George Mason write the Confederate Papers in the Convention. A scandal involving an intercepted French message led to Randolph's resignation as Secretary of State in August 1795. Randolph had been tasked with maintaining friendly relations with France. The British Navy had intercepted some correspondence from the French ministry, Joseph Fauché, to his superiors and turned it over to Washington, who was dismayed by the letter, which reflected contempt for the United States, and that Randolph had been primarily responsible. The letters implied that Randolph had exposed the inner debates to the cabinets of France and had told them that the administration was hostile to the country. At the very least, Elkins and McKittrick concluded that there was something here profoundly disreputable to the government's good faith and character. Washington immediately overruled Randolph's negative advice regarding the Jay Treaty. A few days later, Washington, in the presence of his entire cabinet, handed the minister's letter to Randolph and demanded an explanation for it. And Randolph was speechless and immediately resigned. Chernow and Elkins concluded that Randolph was not bribed by France, but was rather a pitiful figure, possessed of some talents, and was surprisingly of little malice, but subject to self-absorbed silliness and lapses of good sense. In other words, he trolled. He was probably trolling, and in Candid was having some conversations drunkenly, and was and thank God he didn't have the internet. Because that's basically, it's like he's got a Roseanne story, he's a Virgo who Roseanned. Poor guy. After leaving the federal cabinet, he returned to Virginia to practice law, which he never really deserved to do, as lacking as an apprenticeship. And his most famous case was for defending Aaron Burr against his murder trial for Aaron Burr wasn't really a murder trial. It was more impressive. It was more of a treason trial, because the Burr conspiracy was an alleged plot to have planned Aaron Burr... Hold on, let's get to I'll give you some reading. Burr was charged with treason because of the alleged conspiracy in Richmond, Virginia, where he was acquitted because of lack of evidence. The Chief Justice Marshal did not consider it without action sufficient conviction. A Revolutionary War hero... Where is it? Where's it going to show? Where's the point? The case was controversial. Burr was charged for treason for assembling an armed force to take New Orleans and separate the Western from the Atlantic states. He was also charged with high misdemeanor for sending a military expedition against territories belonging to Spain. He was also charged with a high misdemeanor for sending a military expedition against territories belonging to Spain. Okay, so he's trying to divide up the country. He's part of the Knights of the Golden Circle. He's trying to build this new Havana, Haiti, Cuba, Golden Empire, and he's thinking that we have these cities in the United States. We can work with that. It's safer because of the weather, but long term, we all know we want that Golden Circle back. We want Atlantis. So, highly controversial. He killed in a pretty serious duel Alexander Hamilton. And so Edmund defended him and was able to prove that he hadn't really done it. Burr's trial brought into question the ideas of executive privilege, state secret privilege, the independence of the executive. Burr's lawyers concluded that John Wickman asked Chief Justice John Marshall to subpoena Jefferson, claiming that they needed documents from Jefferson to present their case accurately. Jefferson proclaimed that as president, he was reserving the necessary right of the president of the United States to decide independently of all other authority, what papers come to him as president, the public interest permit to be communicated, and to whom. Okay, so you have a very similar circumstance right at the beginning of the United States, very similar to what's going on right now, where you have people that are, hey, we have so much power in these other countries. Let's take over these other countries. Let's make these other countries into our, our new empire. That's a new empire. So Burr eventually, following his acquittal, straw effigies of Burr, Blessing, and Martin and Marshall were all hanged and burned by angry mobs. All these mobs were like, why is he allowed to do this? Burr, with his prospects for a political career squashed, left the United States for a self-imposed exile in Europe until 1811, when the asteroids and the meteorites started to make the sky look like Fantasia. So he traveled in 1808, spent a few years there, trying to get support for a revolution in Mexico. He just loved the idea of revolutions. He just wanted some money so he could destroy people's nations. It was great. He was ordered out of the country, out of England, for trying to start a war in Mexico. So he traveled to France to ask support of Napoleon, who also denied him because, Mexico is Spain at the time, and they're fighting with each other. And he was denied, and he found himself too poor to pay his way home. Finally, in 1811, he was able to sail back to the United States on a French ship. Upon returning to the United States, he assumed the surname of Edwards and returned to New York to practice law. He married a wealthy socialite. She left him after 4 months due to his land speculations, reducing her finances. What a psycho guy. Historians attribute his self-imposed exile and using of a different surname in part to escape of his creditors, as he was deeply in debt. Burr died on September 14th, 1836, the same day that his divorce from his wife was granted. Following the involvement with Burr, James Wilkinson was twice investigated by Congress on issues related to the West, following an unsuccessful court-martial order by President James Madison in 1811. He was allowed to return to his military command in New Orleans. When the conspiracy was uncovered, Blennerhassett's mansion and island were occupied and allegedly plundered by members of the Virginia militia. He fled with his family, but he was arrested twice, and the second time he was held in prison until the conclusion of Burr's trial, which was later acquitted. Blennerhassett went to Mississippi, where he became a cotton planter, and later moved his family to Canada, where he practiced law and lived in Montreal in French. Later in life, Blennerhassett left for Europe and died in Guernsey on February 2nd, 1831. So I don't even know how much of this stuff you were able to see, and I can do this all again later, but I just felt like it was essential to bring some of this up. I'm probably going to end up in the Discord. Let me know if any of you guys are able to see this video later and what's going on. I mean, obviously, if you look at Cloudflare and what's going on with the internet, they're shutting it down. Are any of you guys able to? I've seen a lot of like ha-has and stuff, like burn GIFs, great GIFs. Look at Andreas. Like, are you guys able to see me? Good men died for Andreas to tell the truth. Thanks, man. Pollock gets it. Yeah, Justin. Cherry tree of that flag. Robert Hayes. Want my live XIRTUS. Spicy stuff. Some of you guys are definitely seeing this. I'm pretty sure. Lithium in Mexico. See, dude. Justin Pollock heard me. Gold in Hispaniola, Dominican Republic, Fountain of Youth. Fountain of Youth, as far as I'm concerned, is in Florida. It's clear. It's a clear channel, right where the Scientologists are. So if it's not in Florida, then it's just like east of Florida, like on one of these islands. Oh, Brittany, you're just the best. Thanks for trying. I mean, I don't know why you would give me money while my video's not even playing, but God bless your banana. All right. Am I supposed to do something for that? Like, what do you guys want? You know what? If you're actually able to see me, I might go another bit. Like, there's another bit that I want to explain. So let's go back a little bit to George Mason. You did comments, Fantasias, lava bombs. Man, you are able to hear me. Good job, guys. Okay. So things I want to recommend you guys read. Read George who? Okay. Read George Mason. Free Mason. George Mason wanted to be free, right? George was the Mason who wanted to be free. Why is it so hard to get that word? Just, there you go. Yeah. George was the Mason who wanted to be free. He wanted to be free, guys. Free. Don't forget my take a little remember that he's a Sagittarius should help you, right? Isn't he? No, is he not? He's a Scorpio? Yeah. November 30th. I forget. Anyway, important books to read from George Mason are, let's see, where's his views on slavery? Let's go to that too. Okay, so I was telling you I thought that George Mason might have been partially black. So, okay. I'll just flip this around so I can read it. It's easier. Mason owned many slaves in Fairfax County. That's the thing. He was really into owning slaves. He only owned 2/3 of the slaves he didn't own, didn't get freed when he died. Yeah, there are a lot of glitches. I mean, this is probably going to have to be, I'll probably have to redo this talk, but it was like, whatever. I had to say it. Let's see. Pecunius, Bill of Rights. View on slavery. Mason is not known to have freed any slaves of his own free will, in which his slaves were divided amongst his children. I hope not, like, in pieces. The children in Washington, in his will, ordered his slaves to be freed after his wife. The childless George Washington ordered his slaves to be freed. Mostly of the Hemmings family, though, because he didn't really. And Jefferson manumitted a few slaves. Most of the Hemming family, including his own children by Sally Hemings. You know, Jefferson was super in it. Once he freed his own man, this is another reason why I'm saying it makes sense that the founding fathers, this is exactly what happened to them. In all likelihood, Mason believed or convinced himself that he had no other option. Mason would have done nothing that might have compromised the financial futures of his 9 children. Isn't that weird that a guy who's so into inalienable rights owns so many slaves, right? Yeah. Mason, oh God. Did I just close something? What did I do? What? This is like page source. I don't want to look at the page source. All right, go back. Okay, so again, learn about George Mason, the Mason who wanted to be free. Study his books. I recommend his, but look into Peace by the signing of the 1783 Treaty of Paris, and what had gone on with the building of the rights for the United States, because this is the beginning of the argument that today, right now, what we're going through, it all comes back to this. And if they get rid of it or they try to live up to it, this is like either they do this or they don't do this. But this is the thing you need to study. All right. So please look into that. Also look into John Marshall. There was a few other names I mentioned earlier that you should look into too. Like I think I said Edmund was one of the ones I wanted you to see. Madison and Monroe. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. I kind of want to skateboard again, so I might be done with this video that doesn't even like work very well anyway. Like it's like, whoa, yeah, So I'm gonna be doing that for a little while. So why don't you guys have fun? See you guys later.